What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Glory. I did a thing. I mean, I do lots of things, but mainly I did a thing. I bought Team of the Year Dani Alves, and I'm going to be going back on some things that I've suggested, based mostly on your guys, your guys' feedback and opinions in the chat. But I bought Dani Alves. I picked him up for 415,000 coins. His going rate at the time was about 430, I believe. That wouldn't mean that I make profit if I sold him. I'd still lose out due to tax reasons. But I think it was a good price. I think it was a fair price. 415,000 coins for Dani Alves was pretty damn sweet. So why did I buy him? I read your comments a lot. I usually have my own theories on what works and why, and over the last sort of 3 months, I've used fitness cards. I've used one team, I've not really rotated much, and I've used fitness cards. We're getting to that stage in FIFA now where fitness cards are becoming very expensive, and even the bronze individual fitness cards will now sell throughout the weekend league. So with that in mind, like a squad fitness card, the bronze one specifically, because the only relevant one to me is bronze typically. And this is the team that I'm going to be playing with as well, by the way, guys. You'll see a few players off chem. Dani Alves on 8, or it will be 8 after manager and loyalty, and Luka Modric also on 8. So I added him into the team, and the initial thought process was to use this team and just play with a couple of players on 8 chem. But my thoughts developed with that, and we'll explain those in a little while. But yeah, we're getting to the point now where the bronze squad fitness cards will sell for around 14 to 1500 coins, and the bronze individual fitness cards will now start selling. And the reason that is because with Team of the Season comes a lot of people opening a lot of packs, right? What that does is it floods the market with players and with consumables. I changed my team up a bit as well, guys. As you can see, everyone here is on 10 chem, with exception of Eden Hazard being on 6 chem and Luka Modric being on 8 chem. Sorry, Hazard might be on 7 chem actually, 6 or 7 chem. I haven't got the right manager in. So Hazard is on 6 chem, and actually Luka Modric in this instance is on perfect chem. So yes, only Hazard off chem in this instance. But basically was looking at trying this team as well. As I say, I was playing around with a few things, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. But basically what happens in Team of the Year, guys, is the market gets flooded because so many people open so many packs. It gets super saturated with consumables and with players, and even with the SBCs that EA are doing, this year was no real exception to that. What you found was that players were still, expensive players got more expensive and cheap players got more cheap, and that's generally how the trend works. There's a divide, and your players like Hector Bellerin and Chris Smalling and Eric Bailly, basically the popular players, they just get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because they're solo rated. They get packed and packed and packed. And the super high rated players, because they're not as common, they get bought and bought and bought because there's so many more coins put into the game through people opening packs. So players like Ronaldo went from 1.5 million to 2 million. Patrick Vieira went from 1.6 million to 2.2 million. People were basically forcing up the price of the elite players that everybody wants because they've got more coins to do so. What happens with that is, after that, no packs get opened because there's not many promotions for a reason to open packs. Okay, you get the odd Iron Man of the Match player here or there, the odd decent Team of the Week here or there, but in general, people are done spending money on packs, or just less so. They spend a fraction of what they were spending leading up to Team of the Year, and then a fraction of what was spent during Team of the Year. Now, of course, EA will still release promotions. They'll still release, promo packs. They'll still release SBCs that have influence on the market, and they will still release, actual promotions like the Lunar promotion that is likely to come up in the next few days here. But what happens is, less and less packs get opened, which means less and less consumables get put onto the market. However, people are still playing the game, so consumables are still being absorbed. And because consumables don't have a value where once you've used it you can then reuse it or sell it on, with a consumable, once you've used it, it is gone. So what tends to happen, and it usually happens earlier on in the year, but because of SBCs and because of the amount of rewards that people get and the amount of packs that get opened, it's kind of taken a longer time to get there this year. What happens is, even the bronze consumables start becoming excessively priced. There was a point last year in FIFA, even with the fitness glitch, before that was patched, but when people knew about it, bronze individual fitness cards were selling for 250 to 400 coins, depending on whether or not you got a lazy buyer or wanted an insta sell. If you listed it up for 250 bin, go straight away. If you listed it up for 400 bin, you might have to list it 1, 2 or 3 times, but it would sell for 400 coins. So every bronze pack you opened, if you got a regular fitness card, boom, 400 coins are back in the bank. If you got a squad fitness card, you were looking at 2,000 to 3,000 coins at times, and it made the bronze pack method super, super efficient. Now, this year, bronze pack method has skyrocketed in popularity. So that, again, that alone is going to make it take longer to get to where the super profit is in terms of consumables, but because of the SBCs, the players still offer, you know, a very nice return on the coins. But basically, now we're getting to the point where the bronze fitness cards come this weekend league. Right now, I can sell my bronze fitness cards for 1,000 coins, and they're selling for 1,000 coins when there's nothing to play for. However, come the weekend league, should the weekend league be around this weekend, if EA can't fix the glitch in time, I don't think it will be there. But come the weekend league, those bronze fitness cards will probably go up to 1,300 to 1,400 coins, 1,500 if you really want to sell them for 1,500. And the bronze fitness cards will start selling for 200 coins pretty quick. You know, the bronze fitness cards right now do sell for 150 or 200. You know, if I listed 10, I'd probably sell 3. If I'd said that 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I'd listed 10, I'd probably be lucky to sell 1. If I'd listed 100, I might sell 3 or 4. But now if I list 10, I might sell 3 or 4, because the fitness cards are becoming less and less pack pulled and still being used to a high end. So with that, and with some information from you guys in the comment section, and the thought of genuinely wanting to build my bank balance to improve this team, I thought, with what I have to hand in the club, maybe it's time to start considering using a second team. Or if not a second team, considering using a second group of players to rotate in a team that I can then basically reduce the sheer number of fitness cards that I'm using. Because right now in Foot Champs, or in anything that I play, if I'm playing Division 1, after 2 games, I'm liable to put a fitness card on a player. Sometimes it's 1 game, sometimes it's 3 games, depending on rage quits, extra time, penalties, etc., etc. But in general, for me, in the daily knockout tournaments, I will leave it a little bit longer. Even in Division 1, I'll leave it a little bit longer. I'll play 3 games in Division 1. Sometimes I'll play 4 games in daily knockouts, because the level of player that you come up against isn't always that great. So even if I have low-end, you know, lower fitness, like 87 or 85 instead of 93 or 95, that's not too big of a deal for me. And in Division 1, if I've got 90 fitness instead of 95 fitness, it's not that big of a deal for me. You know, if I take a loss here or there in divisions or in the daily knockouts, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't really impact me or my club or my squad a lot. You know, those tournaments or that division is used for testing out teams and formations, testing out players and instructions and custom tactics. In the weekend league, in the actual Foot Champs weekend league, that's where I don't want to sacrifice anything with fitness, because losing the odd game here or there in a 40-game stint could genuinely be the difference between Elite 1 and Elite 2, or Elite 3 and Gold 1. You know, I might come Gold 1, and if I had full fitness every game, I might have come Elite 3. It's very finite in Foot Champs, and I've said it in previous previous weeks and previous episodes that I don't want to use a second team, because I don't want to have to know a second team. I think it's very important knowing your team inside out, knowing the ins and outs of how every single player acts and reacts in certain situations, where they are on the field at what given time, whether or not you can hit that long shot on that weak foot with that player, or if you have to just, you know, get into a better position and take a regular shot. You know, I always felt like the sacrifice of fitness was enough. But we've got to a position now, and again, this was mainly stemmed from you guys and then me looking at my club. I was looking at like players that I've played with and goals that I've scored, and I've literally played 400 to 500 games with several players. In the attack alone, we're looking at Hazard, Son, Sterling, Walcott. I've got over nearly 300 games with Costa. I've got nearly 100 games with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I've got players like Sadio Mane, who I've got nearly 100 games on, that I've used as a sub. I've got so many players that I've used so much that I thought, you know what, this could be a good opportunity to listen to you guys, to take your advice, and to start using a second team. And what you'll see through today's episode and through the next episode is me fighting and battling with myself trying to decide whether or not I want to do it. I bought Dani Alves, and I said to myself, let me just use Dani Alves at right back. But then I was like, how can I waste Bellerin? Like, he's amazing. There's no reason to waste him. So I thought, let me, use Dani Alves and Fernandinho, and then take those two out when the fitness is low, and put Bellerin and Emre Can back in. Boom, problem solved. Then I started thinking, you know what? I love that Movember Barzagli. Okay, eventually I want to upgrade to Inform Bonucci, but for the time being, why not use De Gea, what's his name? Smalling and Bailly, because perfect links around, and then the BPL, and then when they get tired, I can throw in Rafa Varane, who I've been using a lot to give Modric that perfect chemistry. I can use SBC Buffon, and I can use the Movember Barzagli, who will then link with Dani Alves, and then I can throw Nainggolan into the team, move Eden Hazard to the right forward, use Ibrahimovic and or a different striker up front, and a different centre midfielder. And I've come across one problem right now. And the problem is that I'm forced to use Depay with Ibra to get links. I would prefer to use Heung-min Son at left forward right there. But to use Son, I need to put a Spurs player in the team. I either need to put Harry Kane at striker or centre midfield, or I need to put Christian Eriksen at striker or at centre midfield. I don't have Harry Kane, nor do I have Christian Eriksen in the team. And if I were to use them, I would want to use the best version. I looked at the 88 Harry Kane. His in-game stats are remarkably similar to Zlatan Ibrahimovic's. The only difference is he doesn't have 4-star skill moves. He's a little bit less in terms of pace. Actually, I think he has more pace, but a little bit less in terms of shooting, in terms of physicality, in terms of passing, a little bit less. And with Christian Eriksen, the third informed Christian Eriksen looks absolutely sensational. And I mean genuinely sensational. However, I don't necessarily want to go out and buy him because I actually think he very well might get a Player of the Month card this month if Spurs continue to do well and Eriksen continues to do well. He's up there with Sanchez and with Harry Kane and probably a few others that I'm overlooking for the opportunity of getting a Player of the Month card. So the last thing I would want to do is go and spend 250k on a third informed Christian Eriksen or 350k on a third informed Christian Eriksen, and then in 2 weeks' time have him be obsolete because there's a Player of the Month version that I could go and get that I now, I've lost 50, 60, 80k on the inform Eriksen. So I'm worried. The only other thing that I have an option to do is to go and buy Anthony Martial and use him instead because he gets a link with Ibra. So what that means is Marcelo and Modric will stay in the team at all times. There will be certain instances where Modric gets that links that he needs from Varane and gets on 10 chem, and there'll be certain instances where Bailly is the other centre-back, so he'll only get 8 chem. I looked at the in-games of Modric. He looks fine on 8 chem. He looks better than fine. He looks phenomenal. He's a Team of the Year card. Like, Modric, a 96 Modric on 8 chem is basically a 95 Modric. If you said to me, is 95 Modric on 10 chem good enough? I would have said, yes, it's good enough. He looks amazing. I want to use him. So I don't mind having Modric or Alves or Marcelo on 8 chem because they're Team of the Year cards. They're still absolutely exceptional, right? So Marcelo and Modric will stay the same. The one team we'll use outside of that will be De Gea in goal, Bailly and Smalling in defence with Bellerin at right back. It's then going to be Hazard at left forward, Chadli at centre mid, or Costa. Chadli or Costa. I'm basically trying to figure out which one I like the most between Chadli and Costa in centre midfield. I'm probably edging towards Costa, but I really do enjoy that Chadli card. Zlatan Ibrahimovic at striker, Theo Walcott at right forward, and Emre Can at right centre mid. I think Emre Can is phenomenal in this game. I really, really like him. So that would be Team 1. Team 2 would be, again, left back Marcelo, left centre mid Modric. It would then be SBC Buffon. It would then be Rafa Varane, who eventually will be upgraded to Team of the Group Stage Rafa Varane, who will then eventually be upgraded to Team of the Year Sergio Ramos. The right centre-back would be Movember Barzagli, who will eventually be upgraded to Inform Bonucci. The right back would be Team of the Year Dani Alves. The right centre-mid would be my red Nainggolan, which would then require the SBC Chadli and the right forward to be Eden Hazard. This would mean that Eden Hazard gets 7 chem. And going back to what I said between Chadli and Costa, the reason why I've actually been gearing towards Costa is because Chadli is required to give Nainggolan a chemistry link. So my two centre mids, basically the two central centre mids will either be Costa when Hazard's on the left or Chadli when Hazard's on the right to give the chemistry on that right hand side. And that leaves me in a conundrum, because to not have to use fitness cards on Ibra as well, because I'm going to be using fitness cards every other game or every third game on Modric, on Marcelo and on Hazard. They will be the three mainstays in the team. For me to not have to use a fitness card on Ibra as well, I need that third player. I need that different striker. So I can use Martial and Rashford. I don't like Rashford too much. I don't find him to be a very good player. Or I can put up front someone like Raheem Sterling or Theo Walcott at striker or Sadio Mane at striker. But then I would require a left wing that gets or gives a strong link to the centre midfielder or the striker. And the only left forward that I've got that works is Heung-min Son or Memphis Depay. So I started playing with Memphis Depay and testing him out and seeing how I like him, and he's decent. He's very good. He's scoring goals. He's creating, he's creating goals as well. He's fast. He's strong. He's got 4-star skill moves. He's really high dribbling, really high agility. He suits my style of play, except for the fact he's got a 2-star weak foot. If he had even a 3-star weak foot, I wouldn't blink twice. I'd use him consistently, no question. But the fact that he's got a 2-star weak foot is really, really detrimental to the team. Not in Division 1 and not in daily knockouts, because again, I could give a crap if I lose in those. Do I still get frustrated when I lose in them? Sure. But do I actually care? Does it impact anything overall? Not at all. So with that in mind, I either need to use Son and and Harry Kane or Christian Eriksen, or I need a different left forward, which would be Anthony Martial, but then that would again require using Ibrahimovic no matter what, because Martial would need the second strong link, and that in turn would then cause me to need to use fitness cards on Ibra as well. So I'm in a conundrum with my striker situation. I don't necessarily mind consistently using Ibra, because he is unbelievable. That would then mean I would have a fitness card every other or every third game on Modric, on Marcelo, on Ibra and on Eden Hazard. That would reduce my output of fitness cards from 10 every second or third game to 4 every second or third game. So to use the same 10 fitness cards that I would use, let's say every 2 games, it's now going to take me 5 games or 6 games to use that same number of 10, which I think overall would save me a lot of coins, but also earn me a lot of coins by spending. I'm still going to play around with it a little bit, because if I can find that right balance of attack, I'll be happy. I have got Raheem Sterling. I don't mind playing the wingers on 7 chem. I'm more than happy to play them on 7 chem. The problem is fitting them into the team when it's necessary. When Hazard goes over to that right-hand side to give Nainggolan the chemistry link, at that point, that central centre midfielder and the left forward, they need a strong link between each other, or the central centre midfielder needs a strong link to someone else. And because Chadli is the one that goes in there, he gets a strong link from Hazard, which means the left forward has to be someone that gets a strong link to Chadli. There's no good left forward for Chadli. There's no good link from West Brom. Or from the striker, and again, that right now is Ibrahimovic. So if I do go and buy Anthony Martial, or if I continue to use Depay, it's not really a problem. But if I want to be able to reduce that output of fitness cards from 4 down to 3 on Hazard, Modric and Marcelo, I'm going to have to figure out a better way to put Son at left forward and connect him with a striker or a centre midfielder. And again, that draws us back to using Eriksen or Harry Kane. I do have the coins to pick up Eriksen or Harry Kane. It wouldn't be a problem. But I don't know if I want to do it. So give me some feedback, guys. Give me some thoughts and opinions on what you would do. And again, the reason why I'm not definitely going to be using 2 teams either. I'm going to be testing 2 teams. I'm going to try it out and see how I feel playing with a squad rotation. Playing with 6 or 7 different players every other game. I'm basically going to test out how I feel through Division 1 and through the daily knockout. Initially through the daily knockout to get used to playing with the different players again, and then into Division 1 to make sure that I can take it into a competitive aspect of using 2 teams. And if it's effective, sure, I'll go ahead and take it into Foot Champs. But if it's not effective, I'll go back to just using 1 team and sell off some players that I had. But anyway, guys, this is going to be the end of the video for today. Would love to hear your thoughts and feedback in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.